Thanks to a fellow collector, I found out about this Majors Only Tarot de Marseille by Adar Aviam. I hope I am pronouncing that close to correct. This is another take on the Tarot de Marseille. I'm not going to use the word clone, but this is a Tarot de Marseille based modern deck, or a twist or a take on the traditional Marseille deck or Marseille style decks. So here it says Adar Aviam Tarot de Marseille Major Arcana. The tarot speaks to us through the most primitive of languages, the language of symbols. This language is the first one we learn to comprehend. A child will instinctively understand the meaning of its mother's smile, though not the complexity of the emotions that gave it form. To read and to understand the tarot is to forget, or rather unlearn, the complexities of our new, quote-unquote, grown-up, quote-unquote, adult language. The tarot makes us once again think irrationally, and analyze ourselves and the world through impersonal instincts. This is not so easy to do, I agree. The symbolism of the tarot has, over hundreds of years, become a familiar part of our culture. In this deck, the ancient Tarot de Marseille has been slightly defamiliarized. The iconic imagery has been infused with childish freshness, rudeness, vulgarity, and humor. Symbols that adults prefer to be left as subtext are brought to the forefront. The masculine and the feminine are exaggerated, as are the pleasures and horrors of the body. Our soul, if it exists, doesn't have time for the subtle of the refined. It needs primitive, direct images to set it free. Rest assured, no key ingredients of the original Tarot de Marseille is missing from Adar Aviam's Major Arcana. On the contrary, through vulgarizing the traditionally hidden elements, truer, newer secrets arise. The Marseille deck's original creators' needs to hide political and cultural satire has now been discarded. Let me reread that. There's no apostrophe there. So, the Marseille deck's original creators' needs to hide political and cultural satire has now been discarded. The political aspects of the tarot, a subtle criticism of contemporary society, has been updated to fit our times, where the lies and manipulations of power are as clear as daylight. Yes, this is a creator after my own heart, this one. Erase your adult mind, become your own child, and let it guide you on your path. So I really quite like that approach. As you can see from the opening or the words there, it's completely not at all esoteric, but rather, I don't know what you call that. Rather, yeah, I don't know what to call it. Reflective, philosophical, a little bit political, I suppose. So that's a start there. This Major Arcana Tarot deck is based on the Tarot de Marseille Type 1 deck by Jean Dodal, printed in Lyon 1701. It's the first edition made by Adar Aviam. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Feel free to correct me. This came from, I think it came from France. So that's the Magician. That's the back. So you have like the, well, I was going to say the suit, but probably not. It's just various symbols there. The popes. Pot pin. The monkey at the back. Cracked egg. Interesting. There's a little bit reminiscence of the triple or the double crown here. The edge is a bit like the jester, and there's this huge rock sticking at the front of it on each layer. Such exaggeration of a diamond, a rock diamond there. Empress. She's made very voluptuous, very more less the Empress of authority, more the Empress of reproduction. Is there heart? The Emperor. Money. Nice boots. Heart. Pope. Like the supplicant have sort of this empty heads. They're just following. And there's this cracking and spider web of established authority. Stale. Old. Unkept. And those who followed are empty-headed. So that's established, institutionalized knowledge and traditions aren't always bad, of course. But that's what I see for the moment. So the lover, not the lovers, but the lover. His eyes went that way and that way. One's reaching for here, the other one's reaching for the heart. The other one is reaching for something else. So he has a choice there. This is the Chariot. Snake. Justice. It reminds me of the, what was it with the chopped head? Is that the Queen of Swords? Heart, feather, yeah. Third eye. Her eyes are not blindfolded. She closed her eyes, but there's a big eye there looking, not completely blind, just seeing with different kind of eye. Hermit. Reminds me of Sununos, but that's look like a branch rather than an antler. There's a huge lock. Is that locking his beard or locking his robe? I can't see. There's no booklet other than this one here. The rest is left to our interpretation as far as I can see. Wheel of Fortune. Strength. Hanged Man. Death. Only number 13 with no title as tradition. With a bit of flesh still hanging there, quite reminiscent of the other deck that we saw the other day. I think there are some older decks where you look at the skeleton and you think, I think that's flesh. Still clinging on to the old. Temperance. Sorry, the washing machine's running in the background. I must be missing something. I'm not in the habit of memorizing images, so halo, 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 no halo there, and that's the same here. So I'm thinking this is probably how they are in some of these older decks. I'm very bad with details. I have to be forced to. So yeah, I have to be forced to look. Come to details. I tend to miss them. The fold is at the end. And although this does not have a minor, as tradition, there's this two of coins here with the year and name of the creator, Adar 2018. Aviam. The cardstock is matte, so it's not quite like raw, like some of the Meneghellos and that thick art paper feel. This actually feels like matte cardstock, like the traditional sort of pretty standard matte cardstock there. Very lovely, with sufficient thickness. Yep. And lovely to, lovely to glide. Nicely gliding against each other. A little bit, just a tiny micro, just a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, if you shuffle most decks, it doesn't actually feel the same when you shuffle it one way like this or when you shuffle it facing up, because hardly any decks are 100% straight up and down completely. And our fingers are amazing in detecting just the slightest bit of variance. So that is Tarot de Marseille by Adar Aviam.